Welcome back to Morning Coffee with Tim. We're here in Imperial Studios and we've got another incredible guest. I'm not sure what episode we're on. I think we're on, I'm going to say 7. I'm going to guess 7. I think it's 7. But we've got another local, well, used to be local, now gallivanting away around Belfast and all sorts. But Nadia Sayers, how are you?
I'm doing well. And look, just to make it clear, Tyrone's always going to be my home.
It always will be.
Always.
It always will be. No matter how far we go away, it's always home. But look, thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Of course, anytime.
And I'm really looking forward to this because we went to school together, but you were older, like the year above, 2 years above?
I think it was a year or two above, yeah.
Yeah, a year above. So we don't actually know each other that well, but I followed you on Instagram for a while. Love what you do. Love pageant stuff, mental health advocate, TED Talks. All sorts of stuff going on. So I'm really, really excited to kind of dig into your life a little bit and see what your vision is.
Okay.
I'm a big vision guy.
It'll be interesting.
Here, that's what we want.
We'll figure it out.
Exactly, that's what we want. But first off, before the pageant, before any of that stuff, before any of the good stuff, this is the best stuff, the coffee order.
Oh, okay.
What's the coffee order? What's any favorite coffee experiences? Because I'm a bit of a coffee nerd. I know you love your coffee, and I know you do tea time with Nadia. Is that like a little?
It was a little kind of like web series that I was doing.
Yeah.
It will return. It went on hiatus for a little while, but it was basically during lockdown. I kind of started it up as a way of having those mental health conversations, but it was a balance between not always talking about the serious kind of blah stuff, which you do need to talk about sometimes, but not all the time.
100%.
And then also not having that toxic positivity either, because we're being realistic. We were living in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, I love that. Because it's so true. Because Instagram sometimes I find like people will say to me like, "Oh, you're always so positive," and then I'm like, "Oh, I don't really want to be giving off that." Because it's good. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's good to be positive, but also you're so right in this toxic positivity thing where it's like forced upon us.
Yeah.
And if you're not positive all the time, there's like something wrong.
Yeah,
but
you need to be realistic.
trust me, like I and everyone shows their highlights on Instagram. It's like always the good bits. You're not going to show the negative side of things. So I think definitely it is one of the negatives of social media. But I like that, the tea time with Nadia, that you're kind of highlighting that. When's it coming back? Come on.
Don't put me under this pressure.
I want to see it back.
I'm hoping summertime.
I think I remember seeing it. Did you start that around was that a lockdown thing?
Yeah, start a lockdown. It actually happened kind of really organically. I was asked loads of questions on a question box on Instagram, and I was like, do you know what? I'm just gonna sit down, have a cup of tea, and answer it, go live, answer all these questions rather than posting up like 20 different kind of posts. And I got loads of feedback on it saying that was actually really nice because it was just informal. Yeah. So then I just decided to kick it into being an every Monday thing.
Yeah. And did you stop it whenever lockdown stopped, or was it more like just work up busy?
I kept going through for a while, and then it was like I wasn't having the time to kind of write and research the content because I wanted to make sure everything I was sharing, yes, it was informal and casual, but I was actually given some helpful tips or interesting things. Yeah. And I just didn't have the time between Miss Universe Ireland stuff to actually pull it together. So I was like, I'll take a break rather than let the quality go way down and just drag it on. That
is one thing that I always, because whenever I started this podcast, I was like, right, I want to do it right, because it's so easy to end up like getting behind yourself, not having time to research stuff, and then you're like, oh, I need to put an episode out, and you start putting episodes out for the sake of putting episodes out. Because I think I have like 20 Morning Coffee with Tim's solo, and I don't even talk about them. Honestly, I just don't go back and listen to them, because sometimes I'd be like, oh, I need to put an episode out, and I'd just be 20 minutes in my room just talking about random stuff. It's the same with Instagram. It's very easy to go for like quantity over quality, and it's just, I think you're better. Obviously, to grow on Instagram, they say video a day and all this here, but I think you're better sometimes to just like make sure what you're putting out is solid, and you back it as well, because sometimes, but then it's annoying because sometimes on Instagram you take 5 seconds to record some random video with this random trend and sound, and it blows up, and you're like, what am I doing? Yeah. What am I? Maybe people don't want to listen to what I've actually got to say.
Lights and doing all this stuff, like whenever I literally could just take a video of myself kind of slipping down the stairs, and it's going to go viral. It's
crazy. It's a weird world. But anyway, we got off the good stuff. Tea time with Nadia. I want to know. I'm a tea guy. I'll drink tea, but this is Morning Coffee with Tim. Yeah. The good stuff. What's the coffee order? What are we
Okay.
saying? I know you bought us flat white. Well, you bought me a flat white. You bought
Yes.
yourself. I appreciate that. I felt very bad that you were
Anytime.
buying the
Anytime.
coffees for my
I
podcast.
always
But
bring coffee.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But yeah, what's the coffee order? If you're going into a nice coffee shop, what are we getting?
Okay, so my go-to would be a flat white with almond milk and an extra shot of espresso.
Oh, Oh, right.
Yes.
Okay.
I like my coffee strong.
Yeah. Because a flat white already is quite strong.
Yeah, I think I built up a bit of a tolerance, and then one of my friends said to me one day, and they really shouldn't have, because now I'm stuck with it. They said just throw an extra shot in there.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
did, and the first time I was kind of
Wired. Aye.
but now the tolerance is built a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, that's a go-to, or like a cortado if they kind of do those.
I see. You know your coffee. I asked Mark McCartney. I was saying this to you. I asked Mark McCartney, and he
Yeah.
couldn't have cared less about coffee. He was like, "No, whatever." I think he said Geddes bought him a flat white once, and he threw it in his face. I don't think he did throw it in his face, but some people are very like they're just like standard coffee. They just
Yeah.
like to taste it. For me, it's like an experience.
Yes.
Like that first sip is my drug. Like
So good.
that is what it's all about.
So good.
But the fact you're going triple shot essentially there.
Uh-huh.
Is that how many we have in a day? Like, are we having one a day, two
Well,
a day?
of those, like, I wouldn't have any more than 2 of those, but like,
Oh yeah, you'd be
Yeah.
running up walls. Like.
yeah, but
Yeah.
like typical, like if I'm just in the office making a coffee,
Yeah.
I could have like, it's really bad. I'm having to work on it. I could have had like 6 a day before,
I see,
whereas
that's-
I've pulled it back, and now maximum I'm allowed in a day is like 3, maybe 4 if it's a bad day.
Yeah, because that 6 is a lot.
Yeah,
Along with one of them power boosters in the morning or them 3-shot things.
potentially if I have one of those. I don't have those every morning, but do you know what it is? I really like the taste of coffee.
So do I.
That's the difficulty.
Yeah.
I love the taste of it.
Yeah.
Coffee cake, coffee ice cream, like love it all. It's not for the energy.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
there was someone challenged me one time to give it up for a month, and I was like, yeah, of course I
Worst
will.
month of your
because- I'm so stubborn as well.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, of course I can do
Yeah.
that. The withdrawals for the
Oh,
first few
it's-
days, it was like the worst hangover I've ever had.
Yeah, it's shocking. It actually is because you start to get headaches and you start to like, but then it really makes you realize, oh, I was like,
I'm addicted.
yeah, this is a full addiction. Because I was the same. I'll try and do a month off every now and again.
Yeah,
If I
yeah,
feel
same.
like I'm becoming like,
Reliant.
if I start to feel like when I don't have my coffee in the morning, I get a headache, or I start to feel like brain fog, I'm like, oh no, that's not good. So then you have to push through for a week or two
We're in the same
of
boat,
like
Tim.
real tough. Just because I don't drink coffee for the caffeine boost, like I
Yeah.
drink it for the taste.
The
Like I love,
enjoyment.
I love the stuff, and so I go on the decaf hype, and everyone laughs. And they're
Oh,
like,
do you actually drink decaf?
yeah,
Okay.
I know.
I can't
Are you
do
deaf
it.
before
I
decaf?
just can't do it. I just
Is it
can't.
because why can you not do it? Is it because of the taste?
It's just, it doesn't taste the same. It's like, I don't know. It's like, just don't try. Don't try. Like, I can't have dairy.
Right. Okay.
So I also will not buy dairy-free cheese because it's not real cheese.
Aye, what's
and
happening
it
there,
doesn't
like-
taste like cheese.
Yeah, yeah.
So why pretend?
Yeah, I get you. It's like fake sausages and fake bacon.
Yeah.
Like faking and all. I always wondered, why do they make it look like bacon?
Yeah. So I was vegetarian for like 10, 11 years.
Uh-huh.
And I would still eat some like corn stuff now.
Yeah,
But I tried the fake bacon once.
not
Never.
good. It's way
Never.
too bright.
It's not an
It looks
option.
like cartoon bacon,
like
and
Play-Doh.
it's so weird. Like it's so weird. Here, fair play if you like it, but no, it's so weird. But it's okay. Cortado, where are we getting these coffees? Do you have like a favorite coffee shop? I know Belfast, you're a little bit more spoiled for choice
Yeah.
than Fitnet. We literally have Super Value and Barista Bar, but it's Sunday, so Barista Bar's closed. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
frank and
one
honest.
option
Which
today.
frank and honest ain't bad. It's not bad
It's
for a
okay.
shop coffee. Like.
My go-to, and I think like all my friends and employers will know this, and it would be a sin if I didn't say, but Juice Jar.
Okay,
And
nice.
especially the city centre one.
Beside the
That's
City
like a
Hall?
Yes.
Is
That's
there
like my
more than
second
one
home.
juice jar?
Yeah, they opened a second one in Botanic.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually really bad, but I've never been. Is this like something that are you a big juice jar advocate? I've actually never been.
Do you know what? I actually would say I'm expecting them to start charging me rent soon, but
Yeah.
I spend enough on the coffee. Like,
And is the coffee really good? Because I would always
Yeah.
had that place down as they do like acai bowls and stuff,
Yeah.
don't they? Kind of like the bougie
Yeah.
breakfast.
their sandwiches are really good.
Yeah.
Unreal. And the protein balls,
Oh, nice.
unbelievable. And all of it's dairy-free and gluten-free, so that's why it's
Oh,
handy.
right,
'Cause
okay.
all the treats are
Yeah,
dairy-free and
yeah.
gluten-free.
I get you. Because it reminds me of Joe and the Juice.
Yes.
Because
yes, it's
obviously,
very similar.
Yeah, because living in London, I was like, which is really bad that I've been to Joe and the Juice and I haven't been to our own
It's-
version over here.
Right, see, next time when you're in Belfast, let me bring you. I will take you there.
Right, okay.
We will eat far too much and drink so much coffee, and
I wouldn't have had that place down. Like, I wouldn't have looked at it and went, because when I go to Belfast, top of my list is coffee. Like, I'm like, right, where am I going to work?
Well,
Where's...
I went when they first opened, and the reason I kept going was because they were working around with what coffee blend they were going to use and kind of what roasters.
Yeah.
And the reason I kept going back was the staff.
Yeah,
They are so dead on. They literally just become your friend with everybody. They're so cool.
See, I like that.
So I really like it. They just make you feel at home.
Yeah.
And then I kept going then for the coffee.
Yeah.
It is class. It's really good. And they've got a third one now in Bristol. I'm actually not being paid for this.
Oh, gee, they've got a third one now?
They open one in Bristol too.
That's class.
Yeah.
I love to see a local business doing so well. Like, that's incredible. Because I think they were on Here's the Crack podcast, who are great lads. I was actually on it before. I think Juice Jar, the owners of Juice Jar, were on it. And that was actually the first time, because I'd seen it outside City Hall. Like, I would walk past it all the time, but I'm not a juice guy. I'm a coffee guy. So I was like, automatically, I was like, nah, you know, I'll go to Neighbourhood, or I'll go
good
to
coffee and good protein shakes too.
Right. I need it. Right. Let's try it. Well, I'll go, because honestly, in Belfast, I feel like I haven't explored all the options, because I go to Established, my go-to for coffee.
Yeah.
Neighbourhood's very good. Output is very good.
Solid.
But sometimes I'm just like, right, we need to try the coffee.
They're a good like people watcher place as well.
Yeah.
Because they're all glass fronted, and then they've like the wee upstairs bit, but it's all like balcony.
You're in a good wee spot there too to watch people going in and out of Tim Hortons. No, that's cool. Right, we definitely need to try it.
Watch people going in and out of Tim Hortons.
I know, because
just judge them.
To be fair, I do love. This is maybe bad, but for a coffee lover, this maybe seems like a cardinal sin.
Don't
but
say
I
it.
drink decaf, so right, screw it.
Go wild.
Some people are so offended when I say I drink decaf. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, the French vanilla in Tim Hortons is very, very good. Like, as a wee sweet treat.
Yeah, it's too sweet.
There's
for
no
me.
coffee in it. Like,
Too
it doesn't
sweet for
taste like
me.
any coffee.
But like for the first few sips, it's solid.
It's
Yeah.
so nice, because
Yeah.
we don't have Tim Hortons. Obviously, we don't have anything. We've one shop and this open on a Sunday. But whenever I'm up in Belfast, or even there's Tim Hortons now in Portadown. There's closer ones, but I was the French vanilla latte. You don't taste any espresso in it. I know you can add a shot of espresso, I think, but it's
You
a wee bit of.
Pour it down just for that.
If I'm like near
being honest
Ballygolly
today.
roundabout, I'll make the extra 20-minute trip. I will. Or even if I'm coming home from Belfast,
Yeah.
I'll like swerve. I won't even do it. The car will just like swerve in to pour it down,
Automatically,
and
yeah.
I'm like,
not your
I
fault.
have to go now, because I have to get back out onto the motorway. But no, if I'm coming home from Belfast, I do like a little trip to We Are Donuts, or O Donuts.
Oh, donuts, yeah, solid.
We Are Donuts. Sorry, I called you We
Biscoff.
Are Donuts. That's not what you're called. It's
Yeah,
O
no,
Donuts, isn't it?
Donuts. The Biscoff one.
Oh my days, so good. Coffee and donuts.
So vegan.
Me-
Amazing.
So good. And to be fair, I do go for the vegan one. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
vegetarian or vegan, but you know when a donut is vegan and it's so good, like
Yep.
it's better than the normal ones.
Yep.
You know they're doing something right. Like,
So good.
because coffee and donuts are what me and McCann, actually my co-host on Dirt Civil, the comedy podcast I do, we talked about opening a coffee shop.
Okay.
In our brains, it's probably never going to happen. But like further down the line, we were like coffee and donuts.
That
like,
here, sold.
Dirt Civil donuts. Could you imagine it?
I'd buy it.
Absolutely.
I'd go.
Absolutely.
I'd go.
And if we focus, like, I just think some places, like Oma, I think is missing, like, it's got good coffee places, don't get me wrong. I don't know if you have the footfall for like a because I'm used to, when we lived in
Yeah.
London, you're used to like little hatches everywhere
Yes.
with good quality coffee. You're walking, you're drinking coffee. But I think in Oma it's too maybe small for like a
Just
walk
for a
past
hatch,
coffee
yeah,
shop.
but you could have like a mini coffee shop.
Alchemist is very good. I don't know
It is. I tried it for the first time a few weeks ago when I was last on.
Very, very good.
First time. Went in, bought a reusable cup. I was sold.
Nice. Yeah.
Yes.
Alchemist, Nature & Co., The Kitchen. There is some
Nature &
very...
Co is my favourite. That's where I go and work in Oma.
So, here, I'm going to say, Richie needs to start paying me, because I promoted his Nature. I promoted Nature & Co. I actually said them the last time I was down. I was like, man, we're going to
We
have to
should
work.
go pitch him.
We're going to have to work out some kind of deal, because I speak about it. Kevin was in, Kevin Penrose, Wild Irish Wanderer. He said about it.
Yeah.
I can't remember who else said about it, but I said it was one of my favourites too. But I just like Conal Rice, that's right. He said it was his favourite. And I just love the place.
Yeah.
Like, welcome to the club, the whole vibe, like doing a bit of work.
Anytime I'm down here and need to work, I go out there and work.
So good. And it's just that it's out of the town. Good coffee.
Easy
Staff
parking.
are really nice. Easy parking, yeah. The staff are really nice as well. Yeah, shout out Nature and Co for the 1700th time. But when
Send them
something's good,
this, and then we'll just pitch it and be like,
I'll
we can
send
come
them the
and do
5
content.
podcasts. Every podcast there's a feature. But no, I only chat about it so much because
It's a secret sponsor, is it?
here, hopefully in the future, Richie. But no, like whenever a coffee shop does a good job, you just rave about it. Like the juice jar,
Completely.
it's the same thing. Like
Yep.
that's why like the whole experience is so important, and that's why I even chat about, and people kind of laugh whenever I go the sip. The, like talking to the barista, the sounds of the machine, like is the machine clean? I go into all of it. Like
Yep.
I'm a bit obsessive, and I can tell you're a little bit the same. Where you're like you
Completely.
love the whole experience of it.
Well, the thing is, like, Juice Jar blew up in Belfast. You will see it being them reposting, people being there all of the time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that they were trying to feed into this whole Instagrammable life or anything.
Yeah.
It's that it's just naturally
Yeah,
like Instagrammable and comfortable and make you part of like a family.
Yeah.
It instantly makes a community.
100%.
And that sold it, and I honestly think that's why it was so popular to begin
yeah.
with.
Great things get talked about.
Yeah.
Like, and I think a lot of people can get lost in trying to look great and trying to portray this image. But if they just focus on doing great things, like that's what makes like the whole Starbucks thing about getting your name wrong, so you share it on your story.
Exactly.
Like if you can just if you can just give really good coffee, really good food, and be nice to all of your customers, you're gonna get people coming
Be a
back.
decent
Like
human, good coffee.
Brad Heidi, when he was on here, he said, "Don't be a dick," and I totally agree.
Literally, it's what I live by.
It's a fact. It is. It's so true. But I love that. That was the deepest coffee chat yet, because some people, like McCartney, was just like, whatever, I'll take whatever. And then some people are more into it, but always like to find out people's favorite. So the favorite's Juice Jar.
Yep.
That's where we're going.
Yep.
Have you had a favorite? Sorry to extend this conversation, but I love it. Have you had a favorite anywhere else? Like, because I know you've traveled quite a bit as well. Has there been anywhere you've been where you've been like, oh damn, that's good?
Do you know what?
Nowhere
This
matches
is
Juice
really
Jar.
random. Nowhere matches it. This is random, and it's not even like a brand or anything. I was in Egypt for a while,
Oh, nice.
and the resort we were staying in, and I don't know whether it was just purely because of sleep deprivation
Yeah.
or if it genuinely was the best coffee
That
I've ever
first
tasted.
hit. Yeah,
Egyptian
yeah.
coffee.
Yeah.
But it was so good.
I see.
So
I
good.
think Egyptian coffee is known for being very good.
Yeah, it
I
was
think
really
it is.
strong and rich.
Yeah,
It was good.
that's class. Right. Egypt.
But it could have been the sleep deprivation too.
Tim, go to Egypt. I know whenever you're feeling a little bit deprived, because as I said, I don't really feel the benefits of caffeine that much, because when we drink it as much as we do, you start to lose the benefits.
Yeah.
But whenever you haven't had it for a while, or see after that month off, and I go into Cafe Nero a lot. No, I'm gonna shout out because the guys in there are great. I do go into Cafe Nero a lot as well, so I gotta shout them out. But see, going in and just having that first sip is like, goodness.
And see, I wasn't drinking too much when I was in Egypt either, because I didn't want it. This is the like most vain thing you're gonna hear. I was doing a lot of photo shoots and stuff.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
didn't want it staining my teeth.
Oh yeah,
So
okay.
I limited
fair.
the amount of coffee I could drink when I was there. So I was only allowed like a cup every couple of days.
So it really, really hit like. I see that.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a lesson in life. Sometimes you got to hold yourself back from these things, because if you're constantly getting the comforts and the things that make you feel good, it just doesn't have the same
There's a
effect.
payoff sometimes. You need to just do it.
There 100% is. But look, Nadia, I want to get into. That's enough coffee chat. We could have chatted about that. I would have been happy to do an hour and 20 minutes of just purely coffee chat. But I want to get into a little bit more about you and school. We went to the same school, obviously.
Yes.
But we didn't really know each other. But what was school life like? And also, what did you kind of see yourself doing whenever you were at school? We all have dreams, right? We all have big goals. Like, I probably wanted to be a footballer at one stage. Then I wanted to own a shop, because I love doing the little beepy thing. So what did you want to do at school? Like, what did you see yourself doing?
So it changed quite a bit. Really randomly at the start of school, like start of kind of secondary school.
Yeah.
I was actually really interested in being a mechanic.
Right? Okay, that wouldn't have been top 10 on my things that I would have thought you would have been interested in.
No, I don't know what it was. I think it was maybe just the feeling of I was quite petite and quiet
Yeah.
and small and ginger, and it was like, do you know what?
Yeah.
I just want to be independent and be able to like fix my car when it breaks. So
Nice.
let's just be a mechanic and fix everyone's car. And I don't know, I like knowing how to put things together.
Yeah. Quite
so,
practical in your mind that you're like, right,
Yeah.
start to finish. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I need to see the bigger picture. I need to understand it all so then I can kind of troubleshoot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it was really random. I wanted to be a mechanic. And then
When did the mechanic dream end? Like, when was that put in
when
the
I
back burner?
realised I didn't really like getting dirty.
Yeah, that's a big stumbling block.
I
Big stumbling block.
didn't really like that part. I was a wee bit of a germaphobe, so I was like, I don't think that's going to work too well.
Yeah.
I'd say second year, third year maybe. And that's when the modelling dream started to come out a bit.
Nice. That's a shame that we never got to see Mechanic Nadia.
Well,
That's
you never know.
here.
It could
Could be a
come
side
back
side
out.
hustle. You could just start like intern in a garage or something.
Here, if you see a order in for a pink boiler suit, that's gonna
Absolutely.
be-
No, that would be great. So no, so right, second, third year mechanic, and then
Yep.
into the modeling.
Yes.
So when did you kind of? Because obviously third year, if you say, I guess at school, if you're like, I want to be a model,
People made fun of me.
people are
Yeah.
like, right, okay.
Yeah, they made fun of me. For sure.
Funny enough, I never said I wanted to be on a model. I don't know where. Who knows why? But what? So made fun of. But did that kind of put you off? Did that kind of?
It made me not talk about it. So like I was quite shy in school.
Yeah. Okay.
I kind of just, yeah, I was quite shy unless I was really friendly with someone.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have walked up to anybody. Like
Yeah.
I never would have walked up to you and be like, hi, I'm Nadia. Whereas I would now.
I don't. Did anyone do that at school?
I don't know.
I feel like
think
that
there's
would be
people
weird
that, like,
behavior if you done that at school.
I think there's people that are like, they're okay putting their head above the crowd, whereas like
Yeah.
I just was not okay with that. I just
Yeah.
wanted to kind of blend in. And it was actually whenever one of my mum's friends at the time, her daughter was a hairdresser,
Yeah.
and randomly they were all at my house one night, one weekend, and I'd said I would really like to cut my hair, but I didn't know how, what kind of style, and
Right,
she was
okay.
like, you should cut it really short. Like, do you remember Frankie from the Saturdays?
I remember it well.
Like
Yeah.
the really short haircut.
Yeah.
She's like, you should do that.
The little pixie bob
Yeah.
thing going
and
on.
I
Yeah.
was like, do you want to do it? So she cut my hair in the kitchen at like 1 a.m, and I think she was surprised that I let her do it
Yeah.
because it was quite drastic. My hair was like this, the length it is
Yeah.
now, and it
Really
went
long.
straight
Yeah.
back up.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's okay, it's just hair, it'll grow back. And she's like, oh, well, if you let me do that, there's probably not much you won't let me do to your hair. So
Yeah.
would you be my model for some of the hair competitions?
Ah, nice.
And I started modelling for hair competitions then.
And that was what age? Like 14,
I'd say,
15?
like, I'd say it was probably 16,
16?
15, 16. And so I went over to Scotland with her, England, like was traveling all over the place. And my hair was crazy colours. Like it was purple and orange and white at one stage. It was red and orange and yellow.
Yeah.
Did that for a year
Uh-huh.
and kind of networked while I was doing it.
Unreal.
Heard with other makeup artists, things like that. And it
Yeah.
started to see a bit more that maybe modelling was more accessible than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And my aunt had done a bit of modelling and some of my parents' friends had done a bit. So I just kind of started secretly on
Yeah.
the sidelines,
Yeah.
trying to get a bit of experience and trying to keep an ear out and
Mm-hmm.
getting pictures gathered for portfolios, but never really would have spoke about it in school. It was only because I was going into school and my hair was all these crazy colours that
Yeah.
people knew
Something
I
was
was
going
doing
on.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Had to get permission and everything to go into school with my hair all these mad
That's
colours.
madness, isn't it?
Teachers weren't the happiest, like. But
Yeah. That's crazy. That's mad. So that was like, so you kind of didn't speak about it in school, but
Yeah.
did you still know in your head that it was something that you really wanted to
yeah,
pursue?
it was something that
Like
I
it never,
definitely-
no one ever put you off enough to be like, oh no, I don't want to go down
No.
that route.
No, it was something that I definitely wanted to give. I didn't want to regret not trying. That's one of the biggest things, and I still would think very much like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to regret
100%.
not giving it a go. I'd
Yeah.
rather regret trying it and making a dick of myself
Yeah.
than regretting not trying it and never knowing what would have happened.
100%.
So yeah, that was always on the kind of side. I
Yeah.
always wanted to do that, but whenever I was in school, what I was kind of focusing on in school was I knew I wanted to go into like care work of
Right.
some
Okay.
sort.
Yeah.
And then psychology came to our school.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And the first year that the psychology teacher was there was my AS level.
Yeah.
So I went in and learned a bit about it, and I was really intrigued by the topic.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'll do that because I find it interesting. So
Yeah.
at least that's half the battle.
Yeah.
And I think after the first month, I was sold. Like I was going to work in psychology and in mental health somewhere.
Aye, that's so. Psychology only came to our school, so it must have. I didn't even realize that because I done psychology as well. So it was a Mr. A that was
Yeah,
your
Mr. A,
teacher.
yeah.
Cause that's mad. Because Brad actually said Mr. A was his favorite teacher, and he was like someone that really stood
Same.
out from at school. I thought he was great.
He was the first teacher that would have had a bit of banter with
Yeah,
you
he was
and
like
also
he was
teach
on
me
your
how it
level,
worked.
like
Yeah.
which I always liked because no, like I did love school, but a lot of teachers are just like I don't like non-playable characters in my life, but just like
Yeah.
people that didn't really have a massive impact. And I could have done better too. Like, and I could have worked harder. And as we said, there's no real self-awareness at
Yeah.
school. Like, you just kind of going through the motions. But Mr. A was definitely, and Mr. A isn't paying me to say either this.
No,
This is the
he's
second
not.
time we mentioned it. He just is a great teacher. But I remember with psychology, the issue for me was we didn't do sports psychology because it was a class full of girls.
Yeah.
I'm not saying a load of girls didn't want to do sport, but there was just other things they were more
Yeah.
interested in. Health psychology. I think there was child psychology.
Clinical
and
education.
yeah. So Mr. A actually went out of his way to get me a sports psychology book and was like, look, I know you're really interested in this. We can't do it because 17 other people want to do everything else and you're the only person that wants to do sports psychology. So he went the extra yard, which for a teacher, you really remember them things like.
But that's it. Even finding movies that had psychological relevance, like psychological thrillers that he would put on and say,
Shutter Island.
Right, yes. And he was
What a
like,
show.
right, well, pinpoint the things that happened in that.
Yeah.
What was accurate, what wasn't accurate. So you were having to analyze it.
Yeah.
But it was playing into what you were actually interested in as well.
Yeah.
So it was the first teacher I remember whenever we were doing predicted grades, he came out and I sat beside him out by the vending machines
Yeah.
on the wee bench and he was like, right, you're going to get an A. And I'd never got an A in my life. And I was like,
Still
no,
haven't?
No, I'm not. And
Yeah.
he was like, no, you are. I was like, how?
Yeah.
Because you are. And that was the full
Belief,
conversation.
like, yeah.
And I got it.
See, unreal. That's part of me that was like, I suppose it's probably why I got into coaching. I love like encouraging people. Like, and teachers, I think if every teacher was like Mr. A, I think the world would be a much better place.
So
But
funny because I was sitting watching the TV one night and, well, actually, I wasn't. My friends texted me and said, put on the TV.
yeah.
And put on this channel. And I turned it on and it was his wife.
Yes.
Susie,
Yeah.
whenever she was on Bake Off.
Yeah.
And they had done like the home clips and he was on it. And
Unreal.
I was calling to like everyone in my house, like, come on, you'll see who Mr. A is
Yeah.
now.
That's class. Because I remember McCann, Susie sent McCann like this mince pie kit around Christmas. And McCann hated mince pies too, and he was like, we made them. And he was like, oh, I don't know if these are
I
that
paid
good.
to watch that process.
It was well. I think we did. I think we made a video, or he put a video out on his Instagram, I think. But that was the first time I actually didn't even know because McCann was like, "Oh, this girl's Susie. I think she's Susie cooking the
Susie
books or something on Instagram." And she sent across, and I was like, and then I made the connection that it was Mr. A's wife, and I was like, that's such a small world. I was making mince pies with McCann for Mr. A's wife. Craziness. But no, that's class. So obviously, psychology, was that the biggest focus then? Was that because was there anything else in your mind? Or once you started doing psychology, were you like, okay, this is what, like, I'm going to go down this path?
Yeah, no, it definitely was going to be something psychology related. I remember we were looking through it in careers class and the point was made that there's not that many jobs in psychology. It was actually...
I think that point is made about
yeah,
so many things. Like,
and it nearly put me off. And I was looking into social work and I was like, I actually don't think I could work in social work. Like, I empathize so deeply and I get really attached. And I was like, which isn't ideal for either. You need boundaries for all those roles.
You'd want to take everyone home.
Exactly, literally. That would be me.
Yeah.
So, no, I was like, no, I'm going to stick to what I want. I want to do psychology. I actually wanted to work in prisons.
Right, okay.
I wanted to work with inmates
Yeah.
and do psychology, like psychological
Yeah,
assessments and provide therapy
Yeah.
in a prison setting.
You definitely picked criminal psychology. Did you dive into criminal psychology? Yeah.
Yeah, for that module,
Yeah.
for sure. Like I
It
didn't
was
do
so
criminology.
interesting, to be
I
fair.
wanted to do the whole psychology thing.
Yeah.
And then specialise after.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I was going through that in uni, because I am quite nosy as a person,
Nice. Yeah.
been told it since I was in P1 and I accept it now.
Yeah.
But I just say I'm very intrigued as to the why behind things, which feeds into psychology.
Sounds way better than nosy.
Yeah,
definitely.
nosy as hell.
Yeah.
But with psychology, you're trying to look at the why. Why is that behavior happening? Why is that person thinking in this way? Why is that pattern created in their brain?
Yeah.
So it helps you to get those answers, or at least options that
Yeah.
could be the answer.
Yeah.
So when I went to university, of course, I did criminal psychology. I loved it. It was so good.
Yeah.
But whilst I was there, I started volunteering in a suicide prevention charity.
Nice.
Just because I had my own struggles with mental health and I really couldn't understand why nobody taught me earlier how to look after myself.
Yeah.
Mental health wise. No one taught me in a way that resonated.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go and try and fix that,
Yeah.
the way you do.
Yeah.
And I really got attached to the early intervention side of things instead.
Yeah. That's class. That's unreal. So is that something, whenever you went to to uni, was that so was it what did you kind of focus on? Did you kind of see a bigger picture after uni? Did you start to think, right, this is what I want to work in forever? Or was it more like, I'm going to try a few different things?
No,
and then
I thought I was going down the clinical route.
Yeah.
I thought I was doing clinical psychology. I'm going to work in hospitals, or I'll work kind of contracted into prisons as a clinical psychologist. I'll go and I'll do my bachelor's, I'll do my master's, and then I'll do my doctorate, and then that's me. Because psychology is a way longer road than you're ever told whenever you start studying it. Like, your bachelor's is nothing.
Yeah.
Counts for nothing.
Yeah.
So you have to spend so much more money to be able to do anything with it. But and that was fine the whole way through my bachelor's. I was sticking to clinical psychology, and I kind of told myself, right, I'll leave once I graduate. I'll leave uni. I'll work for a couple of years, save up some money, because at that point they didn't. I don't believe they funded masters with your student loan. So you had to pay for it yourself. So the point was, I'll save up some money, go do my masters, and then kind of still go down that route.
Yeah.
And it was only whenever I was kind of volunteering in the third sector, in the charity sector,
that
I saw where the gaps were.
Yeah.
The gaps in the statutory system. These people that I was working with were falling through those gaps because of red tape that didn't make logical sense.
Yeah. And that made you want to explore it more. Yeah.
I was like, I don't think I could work in that role knowing that this bit of red tape is going to stop me from actually helping this person.
Yeah.
And when I know what will help them, I can't do it. So in the third sector, there's more flexibility, and you're more open to being able to give a more wraparound service.
Yeah.
And that's when I started, I was like, I'm always going to work in the third sector now.
Yeah. See, that's where you called it nosiness, but inquisitiveness. That's where that is so powerful, because whenever you've seen gaps, you automatically, so many people would see that and like disconnect from it, but it makes you want to find out more.
Yeah.
And that's obviously butterfly effect has led you to where you are. So no, that's incredible. But what you said there as well, which makes me really sad, is whenever teachers go, there's not many jobs in that.
Yeah.
That is something that's putting someone off something that they could be so passionate about. And you think of the amount of people like that have went into careers and have been pushed towards what say STEM careers, or the standard careers that kind of there's loads of jobs in.
Yep.
Just because, and someone comes in a little bit different, because I was a little bit like that, because it was always sport for me, always fitness. I was like, I put business down, I think, as like a fifth option, just to like be to my dad, oh look, I've got a backup, but I'm doing both now. I'm doing fitness and business, so it worked out. But it's just, I wasn't really told. Like, thankfully the careers teacher was like, if you want to do this, here's the options, and there was a few options, but there was a bit of going around as well of the whole like, there's not many jobs in that. I don't think there'll be many opportunities. Maybe try this. Think of the amount of people have been steered to something a little bit more comfortable. And maybe have given up on what they actually want to do. Like it's actually really sad. Like,
the same goes for starting your own business. Like,
Yeah.
you know more than anyone, I'm sure. Like, whenever someone, especially someone younger, I think, says about starting their own business, there's nearly like a group of people that'll be like, well, no, that's not really practical. You need to be very good with money. You need to be very good with organisation. You need to be very good with this, and you can't do that. So why would you start that?
Yeah.
And it's putting an idea down before it's even begun.
Yeah.
When in reality, yes, those are things that you need to have an awareness of, but there are people that can help you with that.
Yeah.
As long as you kind of are understanding of where your weaknesses are and where your strengths are and play to that,
Yeah.
then why shouldn't you give it a go?
Absolutely. And I think, as you said before, as you alluded to before, it's trying it and making the mistakes. Like, if you don't ever try it, you'll always have that regret. Like, you don't want to live with them regrets. I know that's very like cliche and like, don't live with regrets and all this here, and like on your deathbed don't have regrets, but that is actually genuinely my biggest fear. Like, rats, spiders, all the rest, whatever, but it's like my actual true fear is like getting into my older years and being like, I wish I would have done this, I wish I would have done that.
I've done some random stuff in my life, and like,
I love that though, trying different things,
so many random things, and that's why
I
was like, I'd rather give it a go. I'll either fail at it and I'll learn something, or I'll try it and decide I don't want to do it anymore, or it'll work out.
And anyone who is like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I listen to a lot of like personal development podcasts, like Diary of a CEO, Modern Wisdom, all these things. Anyone that's on there that is successful in any way, and success is very, subjective. It's different for everyone, but they all chat about their failures. Like, they all chat about where they went wrong and how they learned from it. They very rarely chat about the things that went well.
You learn so much more from your failures. And I know people say that all the time, but genuinely, like, anyone I've spoke to that has, well, not even that has done anything big, anyone that I've spoken to, they will say, if they're reflective on their journey, they'll say that they learn so much more from their failures.
Yeah.
So much more from your mistakes, because you figure out what doesn't work or what you don't like.
Yeah.
And then you kind of problem solve and decide what the next step is. Whereas if you get it right every single time, you're not learning anything.
It's never a mistake if you learn from it. I always tell my clients that too. Like, I always tell, like, in coaching, it is about just learning from things. And a lot of clients come to me and they're like, I don't think I could do this. I don't think I could do that. I feel like I've done this before and I've done that before. And it's just like, that's all a part of it. You know, that's all a part of the journey. If you don't fail, you'll never learn from it. You'll never be able to not make that mistake again. So it's all about building character and over time, just becoming better at the things that you do. And then you fail less, but then you start to fail at new things.
Yeah.
You know, and that's growth. Like, it ultimately is. But right, that's amazing. That was a bit of a deep dive into school and your kind of your life plan. So that's kind of uni age. You went into the psychology, started to get to know what you wanted to do. Now I want to kind of veer off into the pageant world a little bit. Now this is probably what a lot of people kind of seen you from. If they've seen you on Instagram, there would have been a lot of promotion around this, because you were, I know nothing about this. I was on your Instagram and I was looking back. I was like, right, what
was I, Tim?
Miss Universe Ireland?
Yes, I was.
2020?
Yes.
See,
well
and
done.
Thankfully you put it in your bio because it was there. I didn't have to look too far. But I want to know how you got into that, because obviously you had the modelling, all the different hair colours going through school. Then you went down the psychology route. So you were kind of learning about that, and I'm sure that was a lot of time. Like at uni, you kind of just dive into certain things. So how did you get into the pageants? Like, when did that start? Was that someone kind of gave you an opportunity or kind of sent you down that way, or did you kind of figure it out yourself?
So it was a big learning curve. I actually was in uni, and I said, like, people, whenever I was doing modelling and stuff, they thought it was a bit strange, because people have this idea of models that they're these perfect people, these perfect
up
looking
themselves
people,
and like
like they are goddesses. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? And some of them are, but the thing someone once told me, a model is someone that looks a bit unique.
Yeah,
there's something about you that makes you look a bit unique that people deem as being in and interesting. Like, some models are known for the gap in their teeth. Some are known for, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So people still thought it was a bit strange and would use it as a bit of a wind up every now and then. Yeah. Not just in good nature, but still. Yeah. And I remember I was in uni and I was sitting in my uni halls one day, and one of my friends, one of the fellas, saw a beauty pageant come up on, at the time it was Facebook, on my timeline. And they were like, oh my goodness. Imagine if you got up on stage in a big sparkly dress, you'd look like such a dick. Yeah. Because I'm like a real, especially at that time, eyeliner, cut off shorts, Converse, rock t-shirts, that was me. Yeah. And they were like, you had a big sparkly dress? I'd love to see that. So I had a real like Thran head on me, and I was like, that flicked something in your brain to be like, I went into my little room and I went and applied for the first one I saw. That's mad. And I'd never...
Did you know what a pageant was? Like, did you know...
I'd watched Miss Congeniality.
As we all have. What a film.
I didn't really have any understanding of what it took to be in a pageant. I didn't really understand the process or anything. Yeah. But I was like, well, sure, I'll just give it a go. Yeah. And I'll see. Now, this pageant was in Birmingham.
Random place as well for your first pageant.
Exactly. And I was like, right, I'll apply it. Probably won't even get through. Yeah. Got through. And I went over, and I remember me and my best friend flew over that morning. I did the dodgiest job of tan you'll ever see. Like, I'm not great at all the girl things. Yeah. So tan was not my forte. Attempted to put that on. I wore a summer dress on stage during the evening going round. Nice. Because I didn't know the difference.
That's like something I do. I wouldn't put a summer dress on, but I would do something like that.
Yep. Didn't realise I had to speak on stage. I'd never spoken to a mic in my life. And it was shocking. It was absolutely shocking.
Do you ever watch that back? Do you ever like see the footage? You definitely should.
I looked at, I saw a couple of photos, and that was enough PTSD. Like, that was plenty. Yeah. But the one thing I did take from it, so two of the girls that I met there, I still talk to. And that was whenever I was 18, 19. Yeah. One of them, like, two of them live in Northern Ireland, one in England as well. She is now in politics. Oh, nice. One of them is a midwife. And she actually ran a couple of pageants herself that I took part in, and the other one's a charity solicitor, and we meet up for coffee every so often still. Class. We still support each other.
And that was from the first ever pageant?
Meeting, met one day, and I learned so much from them. It really opened my eyes to kind of different societal issues that they were really passionate about. So I went home and I was like, I think there's something to this. And I kind of left it for a while, and then one of the girls, she brought one of the pageants over here. And I was like, right, well, I'm not going to need to fly away to compete in this one,
Yeah.
so I'll give it a go. Gave it a go. And I didn't place. But that was all about kind of the environment. It was called Miss Earth. It's like one of the big 5 pageants.
Okay.
And I competed, but what you had to do was pick a platform around environmental kind of health and promotion.
Yeah.
And something I always really cared about was I really like clothes, I really like fashion, but I hate the kind of how trends change.
Yeah.
And fast fashion just kind of keeps popping up.
Shein and all that.
Exactly.
Jazz, yeah.
Now, see if you buy something, even if it's cheap, but you get good wear out of it, and you're going to keep wearing it 100%. I'm not saying everyone has to go to charity shops, everyone can only buy second hand.
Yeah.
I'm just saying be mindful. So that was my platform. Was I would have upcycled clothes that I found in charity shops so that I could wear them as something else. Like I bought a dress and I made it into a shirt and things like that. And I thought it was really interesting. It was really drawing attention to issues. It was making people more conscious. So that's kind of what brought me in the community, the learning and the opportunity.
Seeing how you could use it for good,
Exactly. It was getting eyes on. People were starting to look at you because of your dress or your shoes or because they were intrigued as to what is this pageant thing.
Yeah.
But once you got their attention, then you use that attention to share an important message.
Yeah.
So that kind of is what started it. And I started to learn more and understand pageants more. So I actually competed and went to an international final before Miss Universe, but it was a smaller pageant. And I didn't really get do any newspaper media stuff around it because it was my first attempt.
Yeah.
But I went to, it's called Miss Intercontinental, and that's what had me in Egypt for 5 weeks.
Oh right, okay, nice.
So I was there competing for 5 weeks. And I was chatting to Miss Canada from then, last week.
Unreal.
Still friends. Miss the New Zealand thing.
Yeah.
The training I did last night. The national director is the Miss New Zealand I met then.
Do you call her Miss New Zealand?
To other people, yeah.
That would be hilarious if you just write, "Hey, Miss Canada, what's up?"
To see, so see if it's pageant people, and they're gonna know the name, I'll use the name.
Yeah, but it makes
if it's
more sense.
My friends, I'll just be like, yeah, it's Miss England.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
Nice,
so
nice.
there's a code, so you answer because whenever you're away, you don't really answer to your name, you answer to your country.
Yeah.
So we would just shout Ireland or England or whatever, and that's what you answer to for a month.
That's unreal because from the outside looking in, there's so much power for good there. I like the way that you kind of, from the outside in, it looks sparkly dresses, Miss Congeniality kind of vibes, which I'm sure everyone's probably seen growing up. It's probably one of the best rom-coms of all time. But there's so much awareness and stuff going on in the background there, and things that you can kind of how can we actually use this platform for good? Because I think that probably doesn't get shown enough.
No, and people, I think they automatically have an assumption of what a pageant is and what a pageant girl is going to be.
Makes an ass out of you and me if you assume.
Literally, but you're not. They don't actually ask the questions. People are very quick. Something I realized, people are very quick to cast judgment and make statements
on something they know nothing about. Yeah.
Yes.
Facts.
And my one rebuttal, because I was teaching the girls last night, because they were saying that one thing in New Zealand is that they struggle with they call it tall poppy syndrome. Whenever you stick your head above the crowd, there's
I made a video about it. Yeah.
So
we know all about it in this country, it's
exactly.
Yeah.
So I was talking a bit about that, and I was like, well, one, it says a lot more about them. And my rebuttal to everyone, whether it was media, whether it was comments online, was come and have a conversation with me, grill me, ask me any questions you want, and as long as you're willing to listen openly, I will sit with you all day and tell you and show you facts about pageantry, show you the actual impact they have. The former Miss Universe Ireland, she worked for NASA whenever she was competing, and she's developing systems for younger people to get interested in STEM and actually learn about NASA. And now she's started her own business, which is promoting and making sure there's places for women of colour within STEM jobs, because there's such a low percentage of women of colour in those jobs.
Yeah. What an impact,
Yeah.
That's crazy. And that's, as I said, so much of that stuff, from the surface, people kind of go pageants, and then they watch a TV show on whatever, some random channel, and they just make this assumption that this is this, and that happens in all areas. People don't chat about things you don't want to take the time to learn about, because it's just so inaccurate.
That's it. And of course, there is the onstage stuff.
Yeah.
The actual onstage show is such a small percentage of competition. Before that, you're doing interviews, you're doing you're always on.
Yeah.
The minute you leave your hotel room, you're on. Because if they ask housekeeping what Ireland's like, You want that housekeeping person to be able to give an accurate representation of what you're like as a person.
Yeah.
Because everyone is watching. But whenever you're actually competing, the act on stage stuff is such a small portion.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of skill, and that's what people don't realize.
100%.
It's literally like a sport. It's like you're training like an athlete.
There's so many different areas. Like, it's essentially like what do you call them things in the Olympics? It's heptathlon. You've so many different things.
Yeah.
Like, they do running, they do this, they do high jump. You're like trying to balance so many things. But I guess the shop window or the awareness bit is the on stage. Because that's the glitz, the glam. That's what get people in. And that's an essential part of it too. Like,
yeah, and as someone like in the pageant community, you know those, like even something as simple as, see, if you're walking on stage, every single time they come out, that's a different walk. It's a different type of walk. Different tempo, different way of doing it.
Yeah.
Different type of walk. There'll be different shoes and stuff you'll wear. There'll be different regulations around your outfits. Whenever you are walking, there's different turns and stuff that you can do. Something as simple as, like, if it's a basic pageant stance, like there's one called Pretty Feet, and if your foot is not at the right angle, it's basically like, why can you not do that? That's a pageant basic.
I see.
Your foot should be at 45 degrees there, not whatever.
Nadia, I am learning so much here. I'm so ignorant to pageants, and I hope anyone that's listening, don't be ignorant. Miss Congeniality is not a fair representation. Well, no. I guess it shows a little bit of it, but not all
of it. But like all of that on top of you're needing to look a certain way and present yourself to the best of your ability. Imagine having to have energy for like 20-hour days, as well as looking like you've slept for 20 hours.
So many facets to it, like.
And then you're constantly running, and then there's like the fashion aspect of it as well, and then you have to be educated and researched on how to actually answer questions that the media could throw at you, or your judges could throw at you. So like, I always remember sitting writing, because I learn better when I write stuff down. Pages and pages and pages of research and statistic about not only kind of societal issues here and things that were coming up in like breaking news here, but also globally. So if they ask you for your opinion on the gun laws in America, if they ask you for your opinion on what's going on with Palestine, if they ask you for your opinion on the gangs in Dublin, you need to have an opinion and be able to back that up with statistics.
Which is, for a lot of people, would be absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, and sound like you're confident in what you're saying.
Yeah. So you can get anything thrown at you, and they're all things that don't get talked about. As I said, it's just like from the outside in, it looks like this is just a beauty contest.
Yeah, and you're timed. So
there's so much more. Yeah,
on stage, there's some questions that you have 30 seconds to answer.
That's mad. My respect for. It was already high. Obviously, it was already high. My respect for pageantry and all the rest. But it's all stuff that you just. That's why I love having these conversations, because this is an area. The coffee chat, I was expert in that. But the pageant chat, just so ignorant to it all, which is amazing. It's like a whole new world. But I seen a little video of you walking through. I wanted to kind of ask you about this, because did you ever feel like a celebrity? Yeah. Because you were walking through, like, I can't remember. It was on your Instagram. I was back seeing what we were. Like, I wanted to pick little bits from your Instagram, and obviously we put the highlights on, so I'd be able to pick out little bits. And I seen you walking through, must have been an airport or a hotel lobby or something, with a mask on. Someone was like, Ireland.
Oh,
and then you were just gauntlet. Like, hello.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we called that a walk in the gauntlet. So that day I was checking into Miss Universe.
Yeah.
But like I had to use a back door. Like, there's security everywhere. You're not allowed to walk anywhere unescorted. Like, I had a chaperone and security. And I wasn't allowed to leave my hotel room without my chaperone. I wasn't allowed to go to the bathroom without my chaperone and security.
Yeah.
Like, because it had to be so tight. Because although here, pageantry is not massive.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get papped leaving the studio.
Yeah.
In other countries, pageantry is like their football or their rugby.
Yeah.
So if you're walking down the street, they are going to try and record you and video you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was crazy. Like, there was one aspect of Miss Universe that we always had to, like, there was a full floor that was reserved for us. No one else was allowed on that floor, not even kind of maintenance staff, or we had to do all that ourselves. But you went down the lift with your security and with your chaperone. You got out of the lift, and there was hundreds of people standing around there. They created a path that you were allowed to walk down, and there was so many security protocols that whenever you were walking that path, like, for instance, you're not allowed to stop. You can't even stop to pose. You're not allowed to have your phone out because you're distracted. You're not allowed to have loads of baggy stuff because then they could grab you.
Yeah.
And there was always security between you and these people. They were all usually bloggers or fans who had paid money to stand there.
Yeah.
And they were standing there for like 20 hours a day. Like we were leaving to go down you had to walk this part of the corridor to get breakfast, to get to training, to get to buses, to leave, whatever.
Yeah.
They were there from like 5 a.m. in the morning, and the same people were still there at like midnight.
That's
so they
nuts.
lived there for the weeks that we were there.
That's just their thing.
Yeah, that's their thing. So like I remember I was walking the first day. I walked the gauntlet, and I got a text message. I was just walking into breakfast, but I got a text message from my management team, and they were like, "You need to hold your handbag on the other side of your body."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Sorry," and they're like, "We just saw it on the bloggers' pages. You need to hold your handbag on the other side of your body. It looks better." And I was like, "Okay."
Something you wouldn't even have thought about.
Yeah, because I was holding it on this side, and they were on this side, so it was blocking part of my outfit. So I had to hold it on this side. My outfits were sponsored.
I see. That's what I was thinking. So you're like, you have to show. Oh, that's nuts. Like that. I wouldn't even. Was it quite a quick learning? Did you feel like you had to constantly learn kind of while you were doing it, all these different things? Because I'm sure there's no like. I guess there's a rule book and a kind of rough idea of what it involves. But I'm sure there were so many things where you were like,
Especially
damn, this is a lot. Like,
especially because it was in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, it makes it all harder.
One thing that I know people and sponsors and photographers were getting annoyed about is the fact that we had to wear masks all the time.
Yeah.
But there was like 70 of us girls, 80 of us girls from all around the world in close proximity to one another.
Yeah.
And none of us, to my knowledge, caught COVID because we had to be so careful. The protocols were so tight.
Yeah.
Because they were annoyed that they couldn't see our full faces whenever we were walking.
Yeah, that's nuts.
But yeah, you learn pretty quickly. Like even something as simple as like I'd like bend down to fix my shoe and very slowly get up and accidentally be posing because you're not allowed to stop and pose. Security.
That's
so you had
crazy.
to find ways of like slowly posing so they can see your outfit.
That's crazy.
And sneaking Red Bull. I thought it would look really bad if I was carrying a tin of Red Bull.
Yeah.
With all this like really glam stuff.
Yeah.
So I used to pour it into coffee cups because coffee is a bit more acceptable than Red Bull at like 10 a.m.
That is so mental. But speaking of COVID masks, I kind of like the whole COVID mask kind of era because you could just go out and no one would know it was you.
Yeah.
And you kind of just was like, were able to just not, even like walking into, this isn't me saying like celebrity status, but I'm talking about just going out to the shop and if you're not in the mood to chat to someone, put a mask on, put a hat on, you're like just walking through. It was a peaceful time. Like,
yeah, and you're like, oh, I didn't recognize you with the mask
I know,
on.
I just never knew you. But no, that's unreal. Like I want to kind of, how much did you learn from that? Like looking back, because you're still active. Like you still, what's the kind of vibe with pageants now? Because I know you do a lot. You do a lot of like talks in schools and mental health work and so much more that I want to kind of dive into. I'm worried of time as well because I don't want to keep you your whole Sunday. But where's the pageant stuff going now? Like, do you have plans to do more? Like, are you still actively doing pageants? Like, what's the crack with it all?
So, well, I officially am retired from competing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm getting too old. Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. The upper age limit for Miss Universe is 28.
I swear, what do you call
And
her?
that's
Was
for
like
the older ones.
What do you call the girl in Miss Congeniality?
Sandra Bullock.
Wasn't she like?
Oh yeah, I don't know what their age limit was, but
yeah, because
Miss USA's age limit is 28 as well. I'm pretty sure.
No, she didn't look.
But yeah, they have one of the older age limits. So then you would be going on to Ms. pageants, and they're not as big and not as kind of prestigious.
Yeah.
Like compared to Miss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot more media and stuff around Miss.
Yeah.
But no.
Oh yeah, Miss and Miss. I wouldn't even.
Yeah. So there's different levels, but no one age I'm aging out.
Yeah.
So I can't.
You're over the hill
anymore. Over the hill. That's me.
Done. I feel like that too. I'm 28 in a week, and I'm like, is that me done? Like, what do I do now?
But two, Miss Universe was always the goal. Like it was the goal that I always had, but never thought I was going to get.
Top of the mountain.
Yeah. So I'm like,
love that.
I'm retiring on the top.
Yeah, there's nowhere else.
Retiring at the
nowhere
biggest
else to go. Yeah.
So that's it. And what I'm doing now actually is I'm taking that. I kind of, after I handed my year was done, I handed my crown back. I was a bit lost, if I'm honest.
I was going to ask, was that really like, because when you said handed your crown back, it sounded really, really sad.
Yeah, like
I got a little bit emotional for you. I was just handing something
you
back.
You get a bit lost because for a year, you're well, even before that, you're working towards this goal. For that year, you are working for this brand and you're this person. You are Miss Universe Ireland.
It's your
and
identity,
there's only
like,
one of
yeah,
you.
yeah.
And you can, like, as much as you're yourself, you get kind of swallowed up in it a bit.
Yeah.
So then whenever that wasn't me anymore, I was former Miss Universe Ireland. It's like, right, well, did all those people that were working with me, did they work with me because of me, because of Nadia, or because of Miss Universe Ireland? Like, do they want Nadia still?
Yeah.
Or is that what they want? And who am I now? Like, what am I doing now?
Like a
What's the
massive
next goal?
identity crisis, like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's the next goal?
That's
Do you know what I mean?
that's a real thing, because I can liken it to like they call it like gold medal depression,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
like an Olympian going for a gold medal for however many years, maybe 10, 20 years, and then they get it and they're like, what now? That's why it's
Yeah.
that's why I think achieving multiple gold medals, or like winning loads of different things, or like being at the top for so long is so incredible.
Yeah.
To be able to
Yeah.
keep going, like when you achieve it, could you have imagined of going again and again and
know.
again? And it would have been like, gee, that's why it's like whenever people are or like say the likes of Michael Phelps or any of these guys that win like 8, 10, 12 gold medals, they're not human. Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, it's insane.
craziness.
Yeah.
That is craziness.
So it was what that kind of lost period. And then there was one thing I was kind of looking back, when I was looking back on everything, because I'm quite reflective, or at least I try to be.
Yeah.
I was like, well, do you know what? I was really fortunate, because my pageant experience of all of them, from the start to kind of when I finished competing,
Yeah.
I achieved so much personally. Like, it helped me grow. If you'd have looked at me 2-3 years ago, I couldn't have done this.
Yeah.
I would have been terrified. My job that
Yeah.
I do, speaking in front of schools and doing talks, in school I was terrified to read a sentence out in English.
So
couldn't
yeah,
have
I was
presented
similar.
anything.
Terrified, like shaking.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So all of that was those were skills I built in pageantry.
Yeah.
My networking skills, my openness to learning new things, and my interest in learning new things, my
Yeah.
awareness of different societal issues that
Yeah.
helps me in my day job. All amazing. Pageantry honestly helped me get over like my difficulties with eating. When I was younger, I really
Yeah.
struggled with disordered eating, and pageantry helped me, which surprises people, but it gave me something that I need to be well for. I need to
Yeah.
be really fit and healthy for. All of that helped me because I had a really good support system. I had really lovely people that I met in pageantry.
Yeah.
Not everyone gets that.
Yeah.
It's like any job.
Yeah.
Not everyone gets all of those people that are really interested in supporting you and have a really healthy perspective
Yeah.
on it. So that's what's taken me into kind of what I'm focusing on now, which is training.
Yeah.
Providing the future pageant girls that are coming up with training and support and a bit of mentorship.
So you can make sure that they get as close an experience, all the good side of it, like you
Yes.
got, which is class. Because I think what you were saying there, some people are scared to go into something because they don't think they think it might be a mistake. I can kind of look back and kind of see it. Whenever I went to uni in England, a lot of people were like, $9,000 a year, that's
Yeah.
a waste of money.
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to get
Why
from
do
that? And I'm trying to liken this to what you were talking about, learning about it being so much more than that. And it was for me, the people I met, the networking, even speaking in front of people in a lecture hall, like the sport that I got involved in, the experience I got, like I got to work in professional sport, I got to do all these different things. And you're so right, the butterfly effect is so strong in the sense of that is building who you are, like that you're building character traits, you're building habits, you're reinforcing so many positive things. So that's why I always say to people, whenever you're investing in yourself, like I'm sure there was investments involved with pageantry and you know, you had sponsors and all the rest, but it was still out of your comfort zone massively.
You're taking on a second job, third
Yeah.
job, fourth job sometimes,
Yeah.
because it is like here you still do your full-time job even after you've won.
Yeah.
I was there competing against girls who, whenever they won their pageant, they got a house, they got a car, they got a full salary. They did not have to work at any other job. Do you know what I mean? Their full focus was pageantry. Some of them had done like pageantry classes since they were like 5.
Yeah.
And it's a whole other world
commitment,
there.
like, yeah.
So it's that balancing act and that juggling act that if you're not in the right mind space and if you don't have the right people around you, it can absolutely crush you.
Yeah.
But if you do, it can be phenomenal. Like I was helping to support and train a girl that competed in Miss Great Britain last year.
Yeah.
Last night it was girls that are competing to be Miss New Zealand that will then go on to multiple international finals.
Yeah.
And I'm still talking to some of them today.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to try and support the next generation.
Yeah.
Because you still want to be part of that pageant community, but I want to be able to try and make a difference in it somewhere.
Yeah, it's amazing that you can have that impact and the foresight to kind of be able to do that, because that's really valuable. We all wish when we were younger, we had the people that we had
Yep.
to like help us, because you've made the mistakes, or you've seen it from all different angles, so you can then use your experience. Look, that's the power of coaching, like in every area, because that's what I always say to people: investing in yourself is never a mistake.
Yep.
Like never a mistake. And so many people are, you know, if a coaching program costs money, or if whatever costs money, and they're like, oh, that's a lot of money. But honestly, invest in yourself, whether it's your health, whether it's your fitness, whether it's your well-being, your mindset, a therapist, like all these things are building you into like who you want to become, like your future self, or who you see. That's what I always say to people. And Daniel Dargan, who was on the podcast, said it: do things that your future self, like who you want to be, do what they would be doing. Like
Matthew McConaughey. I actually was watching a video clip the other day.
All right.
And it was an acceptance speech from a while back, and it was like someone had said to him, think of someone you look up to, think of someone that you're grateful for, and think of someone that...
Oh, I love that speech.
Someone that like is your competition, or that you're that kind of want to keep up to.
Yeah, the chase.
Yes, the chase. And his chase was him in 10 years.
I love that speech so much.
And then whenever he got there, he was like, well, no, it's not me now, it's me in another 10 years.
Yeah.
So he was always challenging and pushing himself to be the best version, or the most evolved version of himself. And I think that's the most healthy competition you can have.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to look back and say, look how far I came there.
Yeah. And it allows you to enjoy the process, rather than, because the way he sees it is, you will never be perfect.
Yep.
You know, because if you're constantly chasing yourself in 10 years, you will never get there.
Exactly.
So it's like, man, it's so nice. And that, I love that speech. And that speech was shared loads of times. It's probably got millions of views on YouTube. But if you haven't seen it, check it out. Matthew McConaughey at it was at like an awards ceremony.
It was like Grammys or BAFTAs.
Yeah,
or
one of the big ones.
Yeah.
But there's loads of TikTok videos, shortened versions of it too.
Good.
But it's so good. That brings us nicely into your TED Talk, which I wanted to talk about, because it's something that I always said, like, I think loads of people have it as a dream, but doing a TED Talk on something you're passionate about must have felt amazing.
It was terrifying.
Oh yeah, completely terrifying. But most amazing things are terrifying at the start.
That's it. Do you know what was terrifying? I'd rather wing it. If I'm going to go and do a talk, or if I'm going to go and do training, or do something like this, like, I don't want it to be overly scripted. I'd rather just wing it and see how I'm feeling, and kind of play off each other, play off the people that I'm speaking to. TED Talk, you can't do that.
It's you
prepped, silent room. That's it.
Yeah.
The audience don't clap until the very end. You don't know if it's landing,
if it's good or bad.
Or they could be there being like, what is she talking about? Yeah. But once it was done, then it started to feel real. When I saw the pictures of me standing with the big like TED behind me.
Yeah, I shared that. That's cool.
Oh,
that's so cool.
It's so crazy.
If I don't get to do one, I'm definitely going to go to a stage and just take a picture in front of it.
Someone was selling some TED letters the other day.
Oh, just so I can put it in my room and just take a picture. But no, that's.
But I didn't tell anyone I was doing it. Like, I didn't.
Oh, did you not?
My friends didn't know. They weren't allowed to come watch. 2 of my friends didn't tell me they'd bought tickets to come watch. They only told me that day, and I was like, don't tell me where you're sitting.
Yeah, you don't want to catch their eyes.
Nope.
I would laugh personally if I seen someone.
Couldn't. But it was amazing. And do you know what? I actually haven't posted the recording yet, because they're finishing editing it so that I can post it.
Yeah.
But the one thing is, like, whenever I was doing it, I had some visuals, but the clicker didn't work. So,
not what you needed.
Not what I needed. So I was like, I'm just going to have to do this without visuals and like rejig what I'm saying, because I can't say, as you can see, like, do you know what I mean?
I'd panic.
Well, do you know what? It wasn't too bad, other than a couple times I had to look around to try and see if it was moving or not. That's the only part I was like, wish I didn't do that, but I had no way of knowing it wasn't working otherwise. But even with that, afterwards, I was able to kind of step back and be like, do you know what? That was all right.
Yeah.
I did a pretty good job there. That's okay.
So is the full recording are you gonna put that out?
I will post it because a few people have asked for it.
Yeah.
And they've kind of heard the topics and they want to watch it. And I think it would be something that's really beneficial for a lot of people. The kind of overview of it was that, and I suppose it links into what we've been talking about. Yeah. You had however many bullet points of things that I've done, or perspectives of people that I am. Yeah. So there's the Nadia that works in mental health and works with kids. There's the Nadia that's the pageant queen and the model. And then there's the Nadia that was the shy wee girl that went to school Noma. Yeah. That all of my best friends know me as. Yeah. Each of those people live in like different boxes. Yeah. And like, you know me first and foremost as Nadia that went to the Noma Academy. Yeah. So that's the box that you would put me in at the start. Open-minded people can see me throughout all 3 boxes. Yeah. Some people in society, and it's unfortunately it can happen quite often.
Put you in a box.
Put you in a box, and if you try to step out of that box, it causes a lot of internal conflict in them.
Yeah.
And then negativity comes out.
Yeah.
So it could be trolling. It could be, who does she think she is?
Mm-hmm.
It could be, I thought she was meant to be a model. Look at the state of her. She turned
Yeah.
up to Tim's podcast there, and her hair was a mess. Do you know what I mean? So it's how other people in society,
Yeah.
they see you as one person. But
Yeah.
everyone is made of multiple facets.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has multiple kind of sides to them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of telling people how to deal with that a bit, how to understand it,
Yeah.
how not to, don't stay in that box, don't let it limit you.
And it's a reflection on the person that's making the assumption. It's
Exactly.
always on them. Like
Exactly.
so you always have to think that. I'm always, even like comparison and everything, we always look outside, but if you just look inside and be like, right, okay, as long as I'm doing these things, I'm being a good person, I'm putting out stuff I believe in, and I'm being myself, you will always get hate.
Yeah.
You'll always get trolls. You'll always get, no one's going to agree with you.
No, and you don't need them to, and you don't need them to. You just need to know how to take it, and it's one of those things. Like if I decided to stay in that little box that I was put in at the very start, like we Nadia, the shy girl from Oma, I never would have been doing the job I'm doing that I love, have experienced everything I'm
100%.
experiencing, and I hate the idea of young people growing up thinking, well, sure, I couldn't do that. I'm just so and so from so and so.
Yeah.
No, you can do whatever you want. You just need to find the right path to get there.
Yeah.
And there's 20 different ways of doing it.
100%, and that goes back to the teacher thing of people saying there's no jobs in that. Like that is, you will hit barriers in life where it'll be difficult, and it'll seem it's very easy to want to slip down the easy road.
Yes.
But the easy road is never normally the right road. Like with challenge comes excitement, and it comes learning, and it's so powerful. And like one thing that McCann actually said to me recently that he was listening to on a podcast about the reflection thing and people putting you in a box. He was listening to something and it said, you know, if you have 9 people watching you, 3 people will care, 3 people will disagree, and 3 people couldn't care less. You know, you'll always have that. So that's massive. That's massive. And I wanted to go into, obviously we spoke about, you've kind of went into, you've had a really lovely journey of like experiencing things yourself and then seeing gaps and then wanting to plug them gaps and then use that for good. So that's really, really nice to see. And you're now doing a lot of mental health stuff, a lot of stuff in schools, which as you said, you suffered with yourself, which again comes back like similar to me. We all have that kind of experience. We want to help our younger selves, you know, with coaching with me, fitness, the little kid that was doing sit-ups by the sofa to get a six-pack to impress other people. And then you're like, that's not what coaching is. That's not what being healthy is, you know. And then all my coaching now is about lifestyle and being happy and knowing who you are and trying to grow, not to be in the front of a magazine, but to be who you truly want to be. So that's incredible. But like, I want to talk about your vision. Like we could go into more of the mental health, so we could go into more stuff about coffee, we could go into more pageant stuff. But the memory card in here only has an hour and 20, so I'm aware of that as well. I say that I always like, because literally these podcasts could last 3 hours, but I want to talk about I want to round it off with your vision, like where you want to see yourself. What does life look like? And look, we never know. It twists and turns, things change, opportunities come up, but what would you want to achieve? Like, what do you see, Nadia? What do you see your impact being, or what do you want to kind of strive for your impact to be?
I want, through my career, I want people to not be afraid of speaking about mental health positively and negatively, whenever things are good and whenever things are bad. And I know that sounds really cliche and big, but it starts with emotional education. I'm fighting to get that on the curriculum. I'm fighting to get in the curriculum for teachers to be able to learn about mental health before they're sent into schools, to know how to cope with kids, to know how to support them better. I'm going to be working in the third sector forever. I see that the charity sector is where my heart is, because you can make a massive difference. I'm going to be making early intervention a necessity for every single young person, so that everyone has the foundation to be able to, it sounds again cheesy, but thrive through their life and have options, as opposed to just survive day to day. Because we can so easily fall into that trap of just surviving every day. We don't need to be there.
Thriving, not surviving, baby.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah,
so I'm going to keep working in the third sector, and there's always going to be like part of that entertainment industry there, hosting, presenting, all of that feeds into it. I love it.
That's cool stuff.
So for me, I just want to have that flexibility to be able to move between all the things that I love. And keep the core kind of theme going from my dark time. The silver line is we're going to help people not be there.
Yeah. I love that so much, and I've no doubt in my mind that you'll make it all happen. It's been incredible to kind of dive in a little bit more, because I seen you as, you know, Nadia, Little Red S, which where did that name come from? Is that just because you have ginger hair?
Someone, when I was in Egypt, obviously everyone just calls you Ireland, but then some of the people that were there and that we worked with, and cameramen and production team, I was the only redhead.
Oh, right, okay.
All of the countries there, out of the 70 odd girls there, only redhead, only person with like naturally red hair, and it was so rare in Egypt, so everyone just started calling me Little Red. Yeah. And then whenever I came back, it just kind of stuck. Yeah. So I was like, well, I'm just going to roll with it.
That's unreal. I always meant to ask you why it was Little Red. I knew it was probably, you know, the red hair obviously came into it somewhere. But no, that's incredible. And if people want to, this TED Talk's going to be coming out. If people want to follow, you're doing loads of amazing things, loads of great stuff. Where can people find you? It's littlered.s, right?
Yes, that's it.
Littlered.s. No, that's incredible. And Nadia, thank you so much for coming on.
Having me.
It means the world. And look, guys, if you want to find out more about Nadia, littlered.s. Anywhere else? TikTok or any of that vibe?
I do have TikTok. It's not great right now, but you'll find me there. I think it's just Nadia Sayers.
Nadia Sayers. Just look, type Nadia Sayers in, and that TED Talk, I'm really looking forward to that coming out as well. But no, look, thank you guys for listening again. I really, really appreciate all the listens. People have been sharing it, and if you could share it, it would mean the world. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, TikTok. There's so many. These days.
Send it to your granny.
Just anywhere. Just send it across, because the views have been incredible. The feedback's been incredible. Please do message me. Let me know your feedback. Review it, rate it, all that good stuff. And obviously, don't forget to grab a coffee, get your steps in, and I'll see you in the next one.